Live from Avondale, Arizona, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we are set for racing action once again here at the Phoenix Raceway. My name is Ola Remble alongside Scott Rank. We bring you all of racing action in the penultimate race of Speed Cup Series competition for the Highline Diecast Collectibles Championship here in 2025. Scott, this championship continues to pick up with only 2 races left to go in the whole of the season. For the series championship right now this season, the title fight separated by a mere 5 points first to second and 16 back to third.
Yeah, that's the big thing, but none of that matters when we get to the championship race next week. Gonna be that reset, going after that championship, and realistically, you're gonna be in with the shot right about now. If you're on the back foot, you're gonna have to have a great night, and you're gonna have to rely on people to have a terrible night. No win and in system means that those points don't always work out the way that you want them to. And you know, the way that I like to look at this is this what NASCAR looks like in 2026? Because it'll be something, I reckon it'll be something quite close to this system.
Critically as well, for the Twisted Beer standings, right? The championship that combines the standings from both seasons together, that is also still on right now. But right now, Cosmo Inoshu well clear. He just needs to start this race and get 10 points, and he will crown himself as the overall champion of 2025. So it's looking like a foregone conclusion for the number 25 for Cosmo Inoshu here this afternoon. So Scott, definitely I think the odds-on favorites win the main championship, but does that translate into the season champion in this week and of course next week in Miami?
I was actually talking to a couple guys about a couple series that Cosman's been running in this season on Tuesday night Australian time, so that would have been overnight Monday night for you guys, and a lot of those guys were saying, yeah, look, he's just been on a burner. Everywhere he's driven, all of a sudden his game has come up to the fore, and I think we've seen that. First half of the year he was quick, but he wasn't checking those boxes, he wasn't ticking things off. This second half of the year for Cosmo Inoshu, we've just seen he's just gone on a hot streak. Good luck beating the man. You know, the thing is, though, you head into a championship finale, all of that changes. You're going to have one great race, and that, you know, means that there is room for there to be mistakes. It's also Phoenix here tonight. This is one of those races with a lot of potential for things to go wrong. Have a look at that open dogleg. We can see cars on that front straight that are taking to that dogleg now and just bouncing their way across it. It's the shortest way around this racetrack, but the thing is, these cars are set for the banking. They want some banking, they want some assistance, and below that yellow line, it is flat. You cross over that line, the cars will bounce and bottom out, and this car's notorious for its bouncing.
Tonight's race, of course, brought to you by Highline Diecast Collectibles, your go-to source for high-quality NASCAR diecast and memorabilia. Whether you're hunting for the latest releases, rare finds, or looking to sell your own collection, they've got you covered. Plus, don't miss their live auctions every week on Facebook, where you can score incredible deals on must-have collectibles. Check them out and follow along at facebook.com/HLD Collectibles. And by Twist Steel Steak Appeal. Twist Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Blute is a solid punch of sweet and a heat flavor that lingers to let you know it's there. Marty Blute is award-winning Steak Cook-Off Association chef and has finally revealed that secret resting rub to blow you away with flavor. Steak, veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twist Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. And today's race in particular brought to you by New West Contractors, located in New Westminster, British Columbia, serving the Lower Mainland since 1981. They're able to provide their clients with a high-quality product in a short span of time. They perform all aspects of civil work, excavating, trenching, demolition, and concrete work. Reach them today at newwestcontracting.com. So Scott, just a few seconds away before racing action kicks off here this afternoon, and right now, Mark McFadden, the driver you see rotating the racetrack now, he is looking to see if he can maintain that margin for second most starts in league history. He is currently standing tied with Martin Blute at 85, going on to 86 tonight.
Yeah, big opportunity to check off a couple of extra starts, and that's the big thing. You know, this series, a lot of opportunities have been running for a long period of time as well, and it's really, really important to pay, you know, respect to everyone that's been racing in this league over such a long period of time. But those records, they are important. They are a big marker, and you know, at the end of the day, you start showing up now and you see how long it goes. I've had the opportunity over my years in iRacing to not just commentate, but also get the opportunity to race in a couple of series that have got long histories, and that's the big thing. You want to pay respect to those guys that have been around for such a long period of time. And, you know, it's important to me, the relationships that we have developed as a community, moving through long periods of time on this sim and making those friendships. But there's only one driver will stand in victory lane tonight, and I do so hope he heads on over there to burn it down.
Well, we'll take a rundown of who's going to be starting wherever race in action here this afternoon for the New West Contractors 140. Nicholas Coates starting on pole position alongside Philip Scott with the obstaclefactor.com, number 99. Row 2 on the grid, it's Jason Gracias down in number 3. He starts alongside Ethan Amberg for Highline Motorsports. Row 3, Kyle Holden squares off against Josiah Vincent as we swing back to row number 4, Holden Minazzi Major and Stephen Gibson. And then, of course, top 10 is closed out by Martin Flute and Justin Mello.
Outside the 10, and from the short track, this is where the chaos begins. Ronnie Norman and Cosman Ianoshi both in playoff contention. Could this be the one that brings the 24 unstuck? Outside of the 13th is going to be Matt Montembo. Man, this guy, he just needs to earn himself a break. Garrett Austin made his way into the playoffs, but at this point, he's just about mathematically done. Jason Shue will start in behind him on row number 8 out of 15. Scott Colton Easterday, better qualifying performance in the season out of 16th. Joey Barrett off of 17th and off the side of the 19 of Scott Leonard. Rounding up into the top 20, it's going to be Nate Catilla in the 5 machine, alongside Ryan Newman's number 15.
And back to the rest of the field quickly, it's Zach Williams, Stacy Hunter, Corey Hutchinson, and Stan Hausman, then Terrell Wheeler and Jeremiah Vincent, Zach Hinson and Mark McFadden, Tim Branson and Cola Bass bring out the tail end of the field here this afternoon. 30 cars lined up, and all 30 of them graded up quickly, not leaving us much time to work with here this afternoon, as they're going to work their way into turn numbers 3 and 4. We're happy to join us for more racing action here on this fantastic Thursday night. Time once again to get the party started, and it's go, go, go in Avondale!
Here we go. Good dive. Who immediately springs down to the dogleg. Very easy to go 3 and 4 wide. This is the first time you get down there in anger. First time we get a read on the field. Already, Malalo gets up and into the outside barrier. I think he got in a little bit hot, but I think he also got a little bit of help.
So far, so good outside of that one brush with the outside wall for Justin Mello. Nicholas Coe will lead the way. Coming down to the end of lap number 1 this afternoon. Everybody else fanning it out. 2 by 3 wide into the dogleg for the second time tonight. Cote leads the way, and we're 3 wide into turn 1 once again.
Great opportunity for Nick Cote. Again, he's been developing his skill set as this season's progressed. Have a look at the mid-pack. Ianushu's trying to send it through the middle. He's trying to gain some ground. Matt Montembo is going to sit in behind and just watch from the outside. Ianushu goes from middle to bottom. And this has been the aggressive nature. The big thing, I don't know if you've noticed it over the last couple of weeks, is he just stands on it these days. For me, he's probably gotten a little bit less patient. First caution of the night.
And it's a multi-car incident on the front straightaway. Jeremiah Vincent and Corey Hutchinson both going around at the exit of turn numbers 3 and 4. So looking like potentially a little bit of help here to bring out the first yellow flag of the night. Scott, let's take a look and see if we can dissect it, find out what happened.
This is the part that I love. I get to judge people on their driving lines. No, I'm kidding. Big thing for here, Hutchinson on the inside in the 21 machine. And grabs the apron, goes around on his own.
And just barely nicks Jeremiah Vincent and punted him hard to the outside wall. Stan Hausman caught a pretty good piece of that as well. Tough break for Jeremiah Vincent, right? One of the chase contenders and had a horrible qualifying effort. And, well, his day is going to start off rough as he goes backwards into the turn 4 with the safety barrier.
He's just... The thing for me is Jeremiah Vincent could be... He's shown so much speed and so much potential, but he just keeps having to dig himself out of holes. And coming from deep in the field, it's always hazardous. People have different braking points. You know, the speed is different, and how those drivers create their speed is very, very different back there. So it's very difficult to get into a rhythm when you've got cars that are all massively different on speed. And I was actually just talking just before, actually, with a couple of teammates of mine from the Australian side of the pond, and one of the things I was talking to them about was actually fixed setup series racing. And you know, he said, I'm very good at getting into the corners hot and carrying really, really good entry speed. which is why I've never been great at fixed setup racing. A lot of the fixed setups built tight are a little bit tight, so as soon as you create a tighter tendency, rushing entry speed puts a little bit more weight on front right, whereas balanced entry, you know, maybe a little bit slower on the entry, building middle to exit actually shifts the weight of the car to the rear. So he said, yeah, look, you know, I'm never going to be good at fixed setup series. It's just because of my driving style. It just doesn't perform that way. And for me, the point of where I was going with that is Nick Cote, to me, seems exactly that same kind of driver. Very quick up front on stints, but long run, he's just not able to get the weight off the right front. So this is a good opportunity for him to lead laps. This will help him.
I feel like a lot of this race is going to get set to continue from last week, right? Because Phoenix Raceway in the next-gen stock cars has a pretty bad reputation of being an extremely caution-filled affair, and I feel like tonight, based on how this one started off, not going to be any different. In particular, got to watch out for that dogleg transition, right? There's a reason why so many drivers were attacking it at extremely aggressive angles. If you kind of half-foot it like Ronnie Norman just was there under caution, the diffuser is liable to bottom out and pick the rear wheels off the ground. And that has been such a massive problem that somehow all this time later still has not been resolved in these cars.
You say it's a problem? I say it's just how the cars race. Look, they are definitely a little bit stiffer than they are IRL. And look, there is definitely an issue there. But that's also the way the setup is coming in, but also naturally these cars are stiffer than anything else that they've got. Normally you use an Xfinity car or a truck car, they do still bottom out a little bit, but they've got those big squishy sidewalls. It's for me, it's because we've got these low profile tires. I think it's just part of the nature of the next gen cars. They're in a reasonable place these days, but they are a tricky car to drive. But you want your top level car to be tricky to drive.
Free flight back in the air as we hightail it back down towards turn number 1, and Nicholas Cote fanning out with the rest of the field deep in tow. It's going to be a bit of a hot mess here. Oh, and already Colton Easter going to get turned around, and he's going to go around with Joey Barrett. Cotilla stacks up with him, and Mark McFadden of the New West Contractors, number 22, is also up into the outside fence.
A lot of smoke on that one. That nearly looked like two separate incidents. And there was a bunch of people who pit for damage repairs at the back end of this one.
So this is Easter Day. He looked for 3 wide up the middle of Melilo and Benazzi Major. And Scott Leonard washed up the track and took him out. And right behind there you saw as well, Zach Williams overshot the brakes, and he's the one that got into Joey Barrett and spun him around. And
two separate incidents.
Well, 3 really, because Corey Hutchinson is the one that took out Mark McFadden from behind on a 3rd individual spin.
I just wonder from the 21 machine, we don't often see him piling into. Hutchinson doesn't get into a lot of wrecks. So for me, I'm just sitting here and I'm going, I wonder whether or not he can see that, because it was. He gets in from a mile and a half back, and he nearly actually, I just went back and watched it from his perspective. He nearly kept it out of McFadden.
Take it right on board.
Yeah, just watch this. So he's low. He's trying to pick off cars. That's Jason Shu just trying to stay out of trouble behind him. So he's trying to stay tight to the yellow line here. Sees the smoke very early. See how close he comes to stopping?
Well, almost.
Nearly gets out of him. Yeah, that one. He's done everything he reasonably can. That's racing. Everyone's trying to avoid the incident.
Well, the good news is McFadden not with too much damage, so we can get back into the fight. Same with a lot of other cars, right? That was not really a hard crash. That's just the case of multiple drivers overshooting the mark. There goes Jeremiah Vincent. He's glad this caution comes out, because with that lucky dog, he's able to get himself back onto the lead lap.
Yeah. There was a couple cars that were off the lead lap. Hutchinson was the other one, which is why he was at the tail end of the field. So, you know, it's Phoenix. The corners are wide. Oftentimes, what you got to remember from the cockpit as well is when you're 3 or 4 wide, if you've got a car right where your A pillar is on your right or left-hand side, that effectively shuts down all peripheral vision to that side of the car, which is critical for when you're in that middle of the pack. That's why racing in the middle of the pack is so difficult, because you cannot see except for a narrow window sort of right in front of you when you're racing hard with people. That is why you see a lot of mid-pack incidents where we had guys pile into it secondarily, because they don't have awareness of what's going on, and there's no way to provide them with that awareness. That's part of racing. So realistically, that's the tricky part. You've got to find a way to either go forwards, go back, look after the tires, and this is where the flexibility, a driver's ability level to maintain flexible focus really comes to the fore. Because if you find yourself in behind sort of a 2-3 wide situation whereby nobody's gaining, save your tire. You can't pass anyone that's ahead of you anyway, save your tire.
Tim Branson with a black flag for entering a closed pits. He came down when they were going to 1 degree, hence why we see him now at the tail end. This, by the way, the first race in Speed Cup Series competition where they are enforcing the restart zone to keep people from getting that infamous half a lap jump on the field. They'll work their way into the O'Reilly Auto Parts restart zone. Green flag back in the air once again. Nicholas Cote jumps to it, and Philip Scott chops across the nose of Garcias to make that lunge into turn number 1.
I think that's really interesting to me is that this is just my comment on things as well. Safety, normally, if you ever go to a sporting field or anything similar, you'll find they turn the lights on very, very early before it even starts to get dark. And the reason they do that is to maintain a consistent light level. For some reason, we don't do that on the sim. I'd like iRacing to kick the stadium lights on early.
Looking for 3 wide into turn 1 along with Martin Plout, and that is the 4 of Josiah Vincent that he's going to let get around on the outside as well. A lot of cloud cover very suddenly closing in on the track.
Yeah. I think what's effectively happened is the sun has sort of gone behind the stands as well. So
yes.
A lot of stuff's sort of getting blocked out. Watch the way the Cosmo actually goes to work through this pack, and you'll see the same from Justin, is that they'll switch up, they'll cross over drivers. Again, whenever I see guys fighting each other ahead, I'm looking at them and going, hey, that's an opportunity for me to get an overtake done. Catilla gets good drive off of 2 and looks to cover Phil Scott down the back straight away. So again, use them attempting to fight a driver ahead of them as an opportunity to build momentum on them. And that's what you'll see. Cosmo, I know she picks off Martin Plout in the background at the moment because Plout was attacking the cars ahead of him. He cost himself some momentum, couldn't go forwards. So he had to sit, be patient, and wait.
On board here with Philip Scott as Scott tries to make a run here on Nicholas Cote, and he's got a good effort here. Could he have a look down the inside at turn 3? No, he's going to lift a little bit early and allow Nicholas Cote to continue to hold clear. And Cote so far doing a stellar job at just working the gaps here. There goes Scott down to the inside of a massive dive bomb for the race lead. Slides across the nose of 17. Cote with the crossover though. Let him over, driving it. He's back to the point down low.
And that's the big thing. He gives himself the inside down here in 3 and 4. That's critical because you want to be on the inside. It's so difficult to hang it tough around the outside. And now Cote, the problem for Nick Cote, though, on the inside is he slid through his rears as he got off 4. He couldn't quite get to the gas the way that he wants. You'll see the same move. Phil Scott will now, again, this is all checks and balances. This racing at Phoenix reminds me a lot of dirt racing because it's checks and balances. You send a big slide job or a big dive bomb, that checks the momentum of the other car up, but he's got to find a way back through. This is where you don't want to be, though, if you're Nick Cote, is on the outside heading into 3.
Well, Cote's going to try to make this one work. Philip Scott to the inside is going to scrub off some speed down on that under that dog leg. Scott again driving in deep. He's utilizing part of that transition, trying to help rotate the car just a touch here. Cote trying to go back around the outside of him. And clears.
Got him.
No, he hasn't. Philip Scott dives it back into turn 3 to get back around him.
But the thing is, you go racing someone like this, again, what I was talking about before, leaning on that right front tire. So you gotta be careful with how much you do that, because this is gonna cost yourself some performance. Look at how down on the apron he is. Again, that car is in the pillar there. You have no visibility where that car is. Your eyes are not looking to the right. You're picking him up in your peripheral vision. You gotta keep your eyes down the track if you can. Gets clear barely, but can't swoop in and take that spot away. If Cote gets aggressive or he gets a good run, he gets clear enough early, I'd like to see him move and cover that one off much more aggressively. He got clear, cover it, don't give it back to him. Yeah, there you go, much nicer. That's good defense.
Nicholas Cote, of course, started this race with the best real estate on the grid, and he's making good use of that real estate here this afternoon. Taking the victory course for the Ryan Newman and Associates Powerball Remax Select Pole Award. To find the best real estate in Michigan, you don't need the fastest time. All you need to do is contact Ryan Newman and Associates, and Colt might be considering that with how good that real estate's working out for him right now up front, causing Scott to burn his tires up while chasing him.
Yep. And the thing about Colt, though, is he's holding that higher lane. The big thing Phil Scott's doing really nicely now is moving back and forward between the lanes, make sure he's got fresh air to the nose of the thing. So he's got a car that's turning. He's driving real well at the moment, but again, just keep thinking long run. Because there's guys that are behind you. You're very comfortable and confident seeing these guys go at each other. Another move. You'll see it sending deep. I definitely thought Phil Scott was going to send this one quite deep.
Oh, he's pushing up from the inside. It's so tight between the two, and what a fight that they're having for the lead. Once again, Philip Scott, a massive send to the inside, and almost feel like Nicholas Cope braked a little bit early to fake him out there into the corner, because now he's got to run back on him, but Scott's now clear with the lead, and he might look to cover him off, and cover him off he will.
Well, that's good use of the dog leg there by Phil Scott. Shorten that run. If Cote had gone to the dog leg, he might have been okay and able to defend that one, but yeah, he elected not to do so. This is just outside the 10. This battle. Matt Montembeau on the 28 machine is the 10th place driver here on the inside of Martin Put. Put's tires look like they're just starting to go away a little.
Quite a few cars running updated looks this race as well, right? A lot of orange and purple hanging around as a result of Halloween being tomorrow, and several drivers repping their favorite spooky shows or movies or their favorite candy bars, much like Garrett Austin running the Reese's car right behind. Oh, sorry, no, that's a Spirit Halloween car. My mistake on that one. Scott Leonard's had problems here, Scott, as he is dropping to the back.
Yeah, looks like a moment for him. He'll go to the rear. That's the secondary bump. There's already damage on the front of that car, so this is he trying to make, there's no way he's trying to make pit lane. I think he's trying to let the field go there, to be honest with you.
Good save. He nearly went right into the pit barrels. Well, the fight between Montembeau and Flute kicking off as well for 9th and 10th. And, of course, Justin Mello trying to make it a three-way fight back from the 11th place spot as well up the racetrack. Going to go Garrett Austin behind. Ronnie Norman still in the fray. He's trying to see if he can reel in some ground. Overall, a stellar afternoon that drivers are having. Ronnie Norman from behind wants to get involved as well.
Moment. Down through. So this is the thing about Phoenix. Multi-lane. Oh, that's a big shot by Garrett Austin to the outside barrier. He's not alone. Look at the number of cars back up that straight that were also clouting that wall.
I saw Zach Williams at least, and I think one of the Vincents got in that as well. But jeez, I mean, turn 2 wall apparently making some friends today. Well, the sun comes back out over Avondale.
Yeah.
So not quite behind the stands yet as we thought. I think that really was just a massive bout of cloud cover that came over us for a minute there.
Must have been. It was quite dark for a long period of time. That was very dark. What darker than I expected certainly to be. There's a lot of reflections out there on the racetrack at this point in time. Malolo and Austin just about leaning on each other.
Boy, that's tight, and he's around. Justin Mello goes for a spin on the back straightaway. Keeps on the inside wall, hands up, and someone has smoked the outside wall. Ronnie Norman. Zach Williams just ducks around him. Well, got to be careful here. A lot of drivers backing it way down. They recognize the danger, and they're just trying to kind of pick their way through as gingerly as they can.
Yeah, smart from everyone involved.
So it started with Garrett Austin kind of moving Mello up the racetrack, and Mello turned back down and kind of did that to himself, it looked like, as he's going to go for a slide. And then Ronnie Norman is going to loop the back end down to the inside line, got into the dusty part of the racetrack, and bam.
Yeah. He's just light in the wrong corner of the car and just unloads him and rotates him, unfortunately.
Oh, man, look at Zach Williams just skate through there. Plenty of contenders down pit road, though. So pit road becoming a busy place right now. Only the top 5 staying out on 30-lap bull tires. Make that top 7.
Look, I'd probably... It's interesting to me that Justin Malello stayed out, because after that slide on those tires, I'd be thinking about coming in, but he also would have been thinking long run, conserve the tires, which is the position that he's in. With 30 laps into this one, we haven't had a long, loaded green flag run until that most recent run. It's definitely the time period that'll take some life out of the tire, but it's still rather early.
This is that speed.
I'm going to say with that one, that one to me is a both parties. I feel like Malello's cut down fractionally and Garrett Austin's missed the bottom fractionally. I think they've both contributed in that one.
And then on board with Zach Williams, the double bubble machine arrives on scene late. He sees the smoke. Look at all of that glare, though, right? Has a hard time spotting cars. Finally notices Norman, and then, whoop, nope, he's not going down as low as you thought. Cuts back up high and just gets around it. You know, you look at all that glare, it's actually almost miraculous that there weren't more cars collected in that. No wonder they all slowed down.
I think the big thing was that everyone was just sort of sitting and watching and waiting to see if anyone moved, and credit to Ronnie Norman with where he recognized where he was on the track and knew that if he moved it at all, that creates more risk to the drivers, not less. So, great decision. This has been an interesting opportunity because Phil Scott stayed out, but Nick Coate has come in. Good opportunity for Nick Coate to get the jump on the field because he is one row effectively ahead of all the other tires. But the problem is it's the outside. So good luck with getting a good jump here. That'll be critical to making this tire strategy work.
Well, the field coming back at it this time by as the green flag's going to drop. Fanning out 3x4 wide down the front straightaway into turn number 1. And already we got cars up at the outside wall. Jason Shue, Joey Barrett, Scott Leonard. No caution though, more or less gathered up, and we're 3x3 once again. Drivers trying to cut their way through. This is not going to last.
Joey Barrett's around. He's had issues. Joey Barrett just finds a way to get involved.
And caution.
In a bunch of issues this season, unfortunately for him.
I can't say I'm surprised at this yellow flag, Scott. I mean, that was looking inevitable based on how that was all going down over there. And I think this is part of them throwing the caution, right? Because that probably should have been a yellow flag up here. And, oh, man, Corey Hutchison again.
Late on the brakes. Not trying to settle the car into the corner. If you're going to be deep like that, get lower or get higher. Don't you know.
Well, and that caused a massive chain reaction that took all 4 cars into the turn 1 wall. Jeez.
Scott Lennon, again, that damage on the front end, he's going to struggle to pull that car up. He needs the downforce that he can possibly get. So be good opportunity for him to get into the pits and get some damage repaired. You can see he's one of those cars that's come in. Probably a few cars with a little bit of damage there. Ethan Amberg made a very good start. He gained a couple spots, and he's now the lead car on tires. He will get first dibs and having a crack at the leaders. Carl Holden's made his way up to the outside of the front row as well, which is big for him. Bit of fresh air. Try and look to defend with that. Cars that are lap down at the moment. Jeremiah Vincent grabs his lap back here. Ronnie Norman actually, from that accident, had a extended stay on pit lane. He's now off the lead lap. Tim Branson's gone to 3 down.
Well, Norman's
that might be enough.
He's not out of pit road yet either. He's still sitting in the car. It's not running, but I think Norman might have bigger issues than we thought. Batteries just get as much damage repaired as he can before the lights go out here.
For sure. That is absolutely his plan right here.
Oh. No, he's not. He's got a big problem because he is not leaving, and he's now 2 laps down.
What this will be from his perspective then is he needs to get as much work done now as he possibly can. Again, we're going to have a few cautions here tonight, so his opportunity to dig himself out of the hole is still going to be there. But for now, he needs to make sure that he's got something to work with. Once you have something to work with, you can start picking your way back onto that lead lap. So risk versus reward, it is a high risk strategy, but it also gives you the best opportunity. He's rolling off the pit lane now, so I think he has got himself a clean car from now.
Green flag coming out this time by as Philip Scott leads the way. Kyle Holden to his right. The top four have not come down pit road. Same for Melilo and Cotilla, back from 6th and 10th respectively. They'll work into the O'Reilly Auto Parts restart zone. Green flag back in the air at the end of lap 35, going to 36, and once again we hightail towards turn 1.
Field spreads out again as they go in 3 wide. Opportunities to be 4 wide on the run through to turn 1 here. Here comes Ionoshi through the middle yet again. Very, very comfortable leaning on the drivers around him. He'll have Malello to his outside now. Here comes the old tires as they start to pick them off. Amberg's up to 4th on fresh tires. He gets through underneath. Carl Holden will pick off 3rd. Coke goes around on the cold tires on the bottom.
Nicholas Coe gonna spin it out. Collects Colton Easterday, and Ryan Newman cautions out again, and bad luck for your pole sitter here this afternoon. And we'll slow it down again. Coming around 3 and 4. That's the apron. Doesn't look like you really took too much of it. Yeah, just cold tires.
He could. Potentially.
And then, nowhere for Easterday to go. Punches the whole left rear end, and then Ryan Newman comes in and punches in the right rear. So both rear tires get folded in, and man. Take another look at this one here.
Nick Coates stays down too.
Oh yeah, well for sure, because if you look here, right when this 95 hits, look at how far in that left front gets skewed out. I mean, that is...
Just wait. It gets worse. His day is done. That car is... It's bent. Wait until this rear comes around. Have a look at that left rear tire. It is pointing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's... No. Yeah, that's not right. Nate Cotilla coming down pit road. And he's missed a stall.
From pole to first retirement, by the way.
Well, could be second. Joey Barrett has been to the pit since the last yellow flag as well. He has not made his way out to the racetrack, so it could be second retirement.
Surprisingly, actually, Nate, the Cotilla car, sorry, my apologies, Nicholas Cote car, is not sporting a meatball flag. So that car is, in theory, able to get back out on the racetrack. Which very massively surprised me.
So Philip Scott, again, retains the lead of the race.
I think he's going to choose to start on the outside in this one, too.
Really? That's interesting. Inside's usually the place to be on restarts at Phoenix.
Well, it just allows you to cut the dog leg and then just dive straight down into turn 1, but I think he wants to maintain that momentum. So, the other thing is, if he'd have restarted on the inside, first car on fresh tires, Ethan Amberg right behind him gets a great launch. He's then 1v1 heads up racing with first car on fresh tires. This checks that inside car up a bit because he's going to control the restart, and JC Gracias is sort of responding to him.
Oh, hold on. He's accelerating here. Careful, can't do that. They talked about this before the race, right? The restart zone is in play. That's going to stack the whole... Oh, I'm not a fan of that, Scott. I'm not a fan of that at all. That's... That ran the risk of checking the field. Looks like they gotten it sorted, but boy, that's not a game you want to play.
No, yeah, he wasn't actually going there. I don't know what that was, but he wasn't going. So, of course, the iRacing rules will take over here, and there is a risk of the 99 car getting a black flag there for speeding under pacing conditions. Didn't happen.
100 laps to go. Coming around through as... Oh, man, hold on. Look out as Gibson stepping the back end out. And now Stacey Honda's going to get to the back of the Cookout 47. Gibson still slide to the back end. He's going to be able to recover it. And somehow we don't get another caution flag with a big impact into turn 3.
That car was crawling all over the road. Here comes the fresh tires, though. Amberg's the first of them. Iron Oshie directly in behind him, so he's worked his way to the point. And Ethan Amberg's going to have a crack at Carl Holden here. He gets to his inside entering 3. That'll move him to 2nd. And now, it's versus the fresh air of Phil Scott for the race lead.
Coming up and around as the field tries to fight their way through. Josiah Vincent down the inside of Matt Montembeau. Montembeau round the outside of Martin Plutas. They're going to split a driver on old rubber here. And around to the back straightaway goes Stacey Hunter hard into the inside wall. No caution yet. And we got Ethan Amber going after Scott for the lead.
He's got it. He's got it. He'll clear him through the dog leg. Slide up, take it away. It's all his. Now the problem becomes, how's he going to handle Iron Oshie?
Cosman Iron Oshie. Always a driver that's able to make up some ground right when you least expect it.
This will be an interesting one. Just keep an eye on how those two go to work on each other. But the big thing is splitting the pack, surviving the front end of these runs. Probably worthwhile having a look at the point situation, because you'll be thinking differently depending upon where you sit in the playoffs.
There are the updated chase standings as they run right now. Iron Oshie with a 9-point gap over Minotzi Major. They remain unchanged in that bid for the title. But it's not the same for other drivers as Ethan Amber has punched his way up 4 positions after start of this race all the way back in 10th for the main championship.
He's leading at the moment, so he needs Gibson to keep going backwards at the moment. It's only a couple points there as well for that one, so he only needs Gibson to go back a little bit further. Ronnie Norman's, remember, had that terrible day, but it looks like even with Ronnie Norman, you know, spending an extended period of time in pit lane, it still looks like he's eligible for the playoffs at this point in time. And he'll only come forward as cars start to retire. So provided he keeps himself rolling, he's showing up next week and going for a championship.
And of course, so many positions changing on a dime, right? As a lot of chase contenders right now in the midst of some of the thicker battles on the racetrack as the sun once again comes over the Phoenix Raceway. This time it will be, I believe, for the sun setting behind the grandstands as that sky grows darker and darker with time. Very high odds that this race will be finishing under the lights in Avondale.
Well, sim time at the moment, just after 5 o'clock. So the sun's starting to set in Phoenix, right?
Nick Otilla getting into it a little bit there with Terrell Wheeler nearly going up and around. Same story with Mark McFadden, who was actually down low and on the apron. So some drivers getting a little bit dicey deeper in the pack.
Here's the big thing about Phoenix. It's difficult to put yourself in a position where you can just sort of advance. And as soon as you start to make a move on someone, somebody else behind you goes, well, that's my opportunity to get it done as well. Hutchinson's actually going to make a move right now on Ryan Newman. Gets clear on him. Newman, of course, off the lead lap at this point in time. Martin Plout, like you see him, challenging away with Caleb Bass. But you can just see, you know, it takes such a long period of time to get clear on somebody. And then you're fighting to pull the car up. You're still going to try and rotate it. Phil Scott's the lead car still on older tires. And he's fallen... Sorry, my apologies. Carl Holden's the lead car on old tires. He's fallen all the way back to 8th and 9th. So that strategy hasn't worked out for those guys, but they'll be down next. Next time we get a yellow, they'll be down for the tires for sure.
Benazzi Major up the road, getting set to try to see if he can attack Matt Montembeau as the pack diving on down and into the O'Reilly Auto Parts restart zone. So the fight for third still on. The fight for the top two hasn't slowed down any as Ethan Amberg has continued to remain clear of Cosmo Ionoshu. Stacey Hunter with a bit of a wobble off of the final corner. Same story with Corey Hutchinson, as this battle for 18th on down is still a hotly contested one.
The big thing about this car is it teaches you to be steady with your throttle application, and that's never seen more than at the road courses. You know, slightly over gas it up, and that rear is going to swing around on you. It swings around on you aggressively. For me, it's kind of like a more difficult to drive V8 Supercar, because the V8 Supercar does a great job of giving you feedback. This car does not. Is one of the difficulties it has.
Oh boy, up the racetrack goes Ryan Newman as Stacey Hunter giving a little bit of a bump there. Man, drivers are just struggling to work their cars right now deeper in the pack, and Cosmo Ionoshu has continued to reel in the gap to Ethan Amberg up the road, and now looking to go to him. He's going to get to the back bumper and put the bumper to the 14 that time by in two.
Hey, I'm here. You need to start giving me a bit of respect. That's what Cosmo Ionoshu's doing. But this is good racing. You're getting ahead of your opponent. Now he's thinking about you. When you get down here into turn one this time by, now you got to pay attention to where he is in that rearview mirror. Cuts the dogleg, gets a fraction closer. Gets the inside. You just gave him clean air on your inside. Don't do that all the time. Can you rotate it off the corner nicely? This is all the things you sort of got to think about whilst trying to run your best line, your best lap times. You know, if this was a hot lapping challenge, it'd be easy, but it's not. There's other guys out there. If there's a car on your inside, you can't run the best line. You got to mix it up. If there's dirty air getting under the nose of the car, you can't run the best line. The car doesn't work as well. So now you got to search around. So look at this time by Amberg, cuts it down in the middle of the corner, and I know she has to go higher in the middle to get the car to turn back.
Matt Montembeau and Benazzi Major continue to scrap it out alongside Josiah Vincent deeper in the pack, as looking for three wide down the back straightaway in this pack group deeper in the field. Jason Shoes actually can get up and clip the outside wall. And these guys are fighting it out here like they're duking it out for the lead.
Yeah, having fun.
Hey, I don't blame them.
To be honest. Yeah.
Oh, no!
No!
Hold on! McFadden way overshot the brakes, and that's going to give Corey Hutchinson a black flag for the incident limit.
Yeah. He's got in and the car just did not turn. It didn't help that he had Wheeler turn down across his nose. As soon as Wheeler turned down, it shut that air off to the nose that McFadden had. Yeah, so Hutchinson's going to come for a trundle through. That'll be a drive-through penalty for him. I think you're right. Instant point penalty. By the way, confirmation, Nick Cote is done for the day.
Oh, that's tough. Big, tough moment there for Nicholas Cote. Right, obviously was one of the drivers that was looking to have a good day, and well, this day, not going to be for him. So he's going to be the lowest driver classified out of your championship contenders.
I think that's his championship run done too.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do from there. Unfortunate. Unfortunate, because he qualified well. He did everything he had to do today. He had to qualify well. He had to run well. He can't qualify any better than he did. Put himself in a great spot to go out there, lead laps, clean air on the nose. One tiny little mistake. One thing that didn't go his way with that restart on the outside lane, it didn't go his way. But yeah, that's frustrating.
Ethan Amber continuing to keep pressure up with Cosmo Inoshu right behind him. Garrett Austin and Kyle Holden also down in 7th and 8th. The halfway point approaching this field quite rapidly here, Scott, as we're less than 10 laps away from the halfway mark. And once again, we see Inoshu try to dive it low and just not be able to secure that run.
Justin Malello's going for a green flag pit stop about 5 laps ago. So he just committed. He went, all right, I'm not waiting. I'm going to go for the green flag stop, which means that the fuel will be tight. That also says to me, we're in range of making the end.
There you see Mello getting around some lap traffic there. That's Ryan Newman that he's ducking around, who just found the outside wall that last time by in turn number 4. Watch for other drivers coming down pit road. Corey Hutchinson just came down pit road a little while ago as well. Here's the fight between Garrett Austin and Kyle Holden for 7th place.
So the big thing is, how long can you go on fuel? And that's Kyle Holden on old tires as well. So he's not far from coming for his first pit stop of the race as well. And this has gone a lot more green than I think a lot more people expected to do. Scott Leonard's back on pit lane. That's for damage repair.
Kind of impressive that Kyle Holden has held on to a top 10 spot for 65 laps on old tires, right? On a 30-lap tire deficit, mind you, to the drivers behind him.
But he's been driving to that number as well. You know, lucky enough to get a little bit of advice from Nick Ottinger and some of the setups and stuff that I run. And the way that he talks about it, this is something I always preach when I'm working with people. One of the benefits of being an Australian Nolan that's somewhat decent at NASCAR is a lot of people come and ask you for advice, and I always try and grab these tidbits and bits and pieces when I can. And Nick Ottinger speaks about it very well. The most important lap of the stint is the last one. If you treat your stint like you are trying to generate your pace towards the last lap of the stint, then you are going to have a car that maybe doesn't fire off all that quick, but you are going to be quick across the bulk of the run, because anyone that tries to fire off too quick is just going to burn their stuff up. They're going to be done nice and early. And Kyle holds and drives to that number. He recognizes he's capable of being quick at the front of the stint, and you see that in terms of his qualifying performances, but he is very patient in the way that he drives the car. And he's willing to let guys go early on. And that gives him a car that's good in the long run. And you see that. Look at the difference between himself and Phil Scott in the running order. Phil Scott's back to 13th. That's a difference of 6 spots. He's actually, I think Kyle Holden's at a point now where he's actually starting to be quicker than guys that are on fresher tires, and that destroys Justin Malloy's strategy, by the way.
Caution comes out. Scott Lennon going to go around. He's going to pick up a black flag as well for hitting that incident limit. And this yellow flag going to put us past the halfway marker this afternoon. And look back. Corey Hutchinson. Holy cow. Whoa! What in the world?
I think he just missed his braking marker.
Oh, McFadden nearly getting involved in that.
That's a bunch of guys that were just making errors lap after lap. Stay there, Scott. Gee.
Oh, Ryan Newman got the wall. That's why they were so slow entering turn 3 there.
That's fine, but Leonard still misses turn 3.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then nearly wiped out both of the race leaders.
Wouldn't that have shaken up the playoff standings?
So Ryan Newman just lost it on cold tires. You saw him slam the wall up the road, and then Mark McFadden sees this develop in front of him, and whoops. Did lock up the left front a little bit there, so no surprise to see him down pit road now. Well, all of this takes us past the halfway point. I'm going to once again give a shout out to the folks who keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series. One of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and advancement of the beer industry is, of course, Beer Street Journal. With thousands of articles and millions of unique visitors and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth, engaging a broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. BeerJournal.com, the best in beer. Want an easy to wear bow tie, no tying, no strapping. Just slide it over the top button of your shirt and go. Great for all ages. Get yours today at bowties.org. And once again, the New West 140 brought to you by New West Contractors, located in New Westminster, British Columbia, serving the Lower Mainland since 1981. They're able to provide their clients with a high-quality product in a short lead time, specializing in aspects of civil work, excavating, trenching, demolition, and concrete work. Reach them today at newwestcontracting.com. Double file, and Scott, 69 laps to go when we go back to green.
Nice.
You couldn't resist, could you?
No, I couldn't. It was, you teed it up. You teed it up.
It's almost obligatory on the internet at this point.
That's the thing, isn't it? So, I know she better pit stall. Sorry, looks. My apologies. I'm going to say that just looks like a better transition through the pit lane. So he's going to take control at the front end of this one. That might just be lights out for the field. How about Minazzi Major, though? We've definitely been seeing some of the best of Minazzi Major through the playoffs here. And the biggest thing that I'm impressed about with Minazzi Major is that he's currently driving so well from positions deeper in the field. He seems to rescue results from bad, I wouldn't say bad positions, I would say average positions. He seems to just make his way slowly but surely to the front. He's patient and, you know, secure about the way that he goes about it. The playoffs for me from Minazzi Major, I've been really, really impressed with.
Green flag back in the air as I know. Should check it out early on from the field. Hold on, as all around gonna go. Garrett Austin, one of the big chase contenders, spinning around in the middle of the field. Collects chasing Garcias. Somehow we don't get the big one in turn 3 with a spin at the head of the field, but that shakes up the playoffs, right? That's a pretty heavy hitter that's just been spun out.
Is indeed. And Garrett's, he's just not had a great playoffs. I think he gets here in the season for just being nice and consistent. He's not necessarily been quick, but he needed a great playoffs run from him if he was going to advance to that championship race. It's just not been that from him.
Taking a look, and Garrett Austin chucks it down on the inside, and Garcias was there.
Garcias missed the bottom. He locked a brake as well.
And he got caught as the 34 swung back around. I think Kyle Holden may have caught a small chunk of that as well.
But you know, therein lies the difficulties of being in the middle of the pack. This is exactly what we're talking about, right? You know, just barely clear. Kind of can't quite complete and get it done, but yeah, did a reasonable job. We'll see, you know, if both of those guys are able to get back out there. But you know, this is it. He was effectively, for Garrett Austin's perspective, he needed to race that corner as if he was still 3 wide, and he was the car in the middle.
Well, the field going to make their way back up and around, as this could very well start to be a bit of a slugfest here from this point on to the end. Ethan Amberg will take the outside as Inoshu picks the inside for the restart.
You know what's cool to think about is as we head towards the back end of 2025 and stuff that's coming. Restart. The choose is coming. I love that. Personally, it's an opportunity for drivers and strategies to just sort of show their new way. You're going to be a little bit aggressive. You're going to take an opportunity to be in a non-preferred groove and try and advance your position. It changes Martinsville massively. Martinsville is probably the biggest one.
So much coming up for real world NASCAR, and that's going to lead to a lot of changes here in the sim, right? Will we see the choose cone officially brought as a potential rule to iRacing? One can only imagine. Cosmo Inoshu takes us back to the green flag as they work their way through the dog leg, back up into turn 1. This time, a lot of more double file instead of drivers fanning out for 3.
Yeah. There's just, the thing is, there's not drivers capable of getting to that middle position. Looks like everyone got a pretty reasonable start, and now it's just trying to pick the lane that you're going to set yourself into. Great launch from Major up the front. He's going to move to second spot, but again, I think that the middle of the field is one of the things to keep an eye on.
And trouble.
As
Zach Williams had a bit of a half spin, he's going to drop all the way to the back, able to more or less recover. Minazzi Major driving around the outside of Ethan Amber, trying to make a run for a second. And around, Stacey Hunter goes again hard to the inside wall. This time slides back up into traffic, and the caution comes out.
And that's the second big incident for that car. So Stacey's going to tow that one back to pit lane. Day done.
In the same spot, too.
Yeah. So it's difficult as it transitions off a 4 because the car gets a little bit light. The banking starts to go away. If you touch the seam, left rear touch that seam. Right when that car went around, the left rear crossed the seam.
Smart play to lock it down there as well as this field. Once again, under the caution flag here in the Arizona deserts from Avondale. Caution flags out once again. We'll take a quick step back with more when we return on Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where racing action is set to kick off once again here in Avondale, Arizona. My name is Little Rebel alongside Scott Rankin. And Scott, it's getting physical out here in the desert, and I think some tempers running hot as well as the race cars.
Yeah. And I think surviving the mid-pack from here is difficult. Because you obviously got to start advancing yourself as time starts to slip away. 60 laps to go when we go back to green here. So you've got to advance. You've got to be making moves that push yourself further forward. But you've also got to look after those tires to give yourself a little bit of flexibility. You burn them up here, get a yellow. I'm thinking last set of tires, maybe at least 30 laps from here. But think to that, drive to that number.
Green flag back in the air. And this time they're fanning out 3 and almost 4 wide through the dog leg. And once again, the whole pack careens through turn numbers 1 and 2. Major gets into the battle for the outside of Ethan Amber. Really wants to take the second spot, so Major can go and try to fight it out with Cosmonite Oshu. But it's a hard task to clear around the outside of Phoenix.
It's just difficult racing in general. The big thing is down through the dog leg. Shorter way at the racetrack is way down at the bottom of the racetrack. Longer ways all the way up at the fence. You can carry good momentum, you can cover it off, but Amberg's just making that inside work at the moment. Gibson's on a good drive right now as well. He's had a great stop, played his way back to the front. And again, it's the problem with Phoenix, and this is probably worthwhile going on board for a lap or two in the middle of the pack. Probably right around. McFadden's probably not a bad shout because have a look. Carter is inside, Carter is outside, car cutting the dog leg. But just watch. Dirty Air just ahead of him. A little bit too much on the seat. He's turning too much, so he's cooking that right front right now. Unwinds the steering wheel. Rolling Norman to the left. Now we're going to think about braking. I can't quite see my marker. Hutchinson's a little bit early on the brakes. I'm looking for the outside lane here. Still Norman to the inside. There's Norman. Now Norman's going to dive it low here. Bit of smoke. Check up. Think about what I'm trying to do. But you just sort of, you start to get a feeling of the mental load at Phoenix, and it's much higher for me than any other track because you've got cars cutting dog legs in different lines. You're thinking about where that car can be because you just can't see them when they're all the way down the inside wall.
Phoenix is by far, especially on restarts, right, one of the most chaotic racetracks you can find on the NASCAR schedule, which is part of course, why NASCAR went here for the finale for a good number of seasons, right? Is for the drama that a track like this can throw up. Of course, now they are headed back to the Homestead Miami Speedway as part of a rotating schedule. Meanwhile, Matt Montembeau, Stephen Gibson fighting for fifth. Josiah Vince and Martin Flute also in the fray right behind them.
Keep your eyes on these guys as well. I really want to see Montembeau. He deserves a good finish from me. He's been quick at points and he's been really, really unlucky. Gibson's already gotten that good finish. So he'll be happy with how his season's gone. Got the podium. Podium in this series is nothing to sniff at either. Yeah, should be respected. Anyone that's managed a podium in this championship, that's something you sort of hold up high.
Oh, absolutely. You know, podium in a series this competitive, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult to be able to achieve, and that's why, you know, there's a lot of winners in this series, right? And a lot of them are different winners. Not so many in the repeat column, and of course, even fewer that are into double digits in that win column, and for very good reason, right? It's one of those championships that tends to lead to something new being thrown up every single week, but right now it's status quo at front with Anochu and Brigamaggia locking out the podium spots. Caution's out again, and Corey Hutchinson again into the outside wall.
And Tim Branson, massive damage just ahead.
Take a look.
You got to replay it. So just keep your eyes on Tim Branson.
Whoa.
This is a lap before?
I believe so. Yes, that is the lap prior. McFadden was slow, probably got loose, and then this is going to be the actual reason for the caution.
So keep your eyes on all four cars in this one because it's really, really important to keep your eyes. Have a look at Hunter. Doesn't want the inside lane here, and Branson turns down as if the car on the inside does want the inside lane.
And Hutchison way overshot turn one because he was probably a target fixation on Stacey Hunter and missed his own braking point.
I don't necessarily think that Hunter's missed that braking point. Hunter's actually at reasonable pace entering into that corner.
No,
it's just
Hutchinson.
That Branson assumed. Sorry, Hutchinson's getting involved in that incident no matter what.
Yeah.
That close behind, but Branson's just turned in as if there's you know, he's turned into a regulation second groove lane, and Hunter's in that lane.
But yeah, like I said, Corey Hutchinson just way overshooting turn one, was gonna hit the outside wall if he, because of the four-tire lock of the going there, if he didn't hit Branson first. But yet another yellow flag, 51 laps to go. It'll be 49 when we take to the green flag. And you know, I get a distinct impression this sort of stop-start nature is probably going to be the way of the game from here to the end.
I think Justin Malone might have just taken his last set of tires. Fairly confident he has. Unless, so there's two ways to think about this. I think Malello might have done a fuel-only stop at one point in the race, and maybe he's just now come back with fresh tires, in which case he's on a reasonably strong strategy. Carl Holden, I think, just burned his third set of tires, so he has one set left to him. There's a couple drivers that are out of tire sets now, that is way too early.
We're going to go green here. 49 laps in it. As we are going to see if we can get some laps in here. We got a good run going there coming up to the halfway point. Let's see if we can maybe have another run like that going to the end of the race. Although if they're going to go 3 wide in the turn 1 like that, it might not happen.
Aggression is definitely paid off at the moment, but you got to temper it. You get over aggressive, somebody's going to chop a nose, not understand it. So this is one of those things where race smarts comes into it. What do I actually want to fight for, and what do I need to fight for? What are the tires that I'm fighting against here? And just try to read the pace of the cars around you as well. It's critical to not fight cars you don't have to. Take a step forward, take a step back, keep your right. Just again, this is one of those moments, Nolan, where you're really going to have your head on a swivel and eyes on stalks. You're just looking for everything that could be dangerous to you.
2 by 2 wide, now looking for 3 here. Once again, Josiah Vincent trying to go down the inside of Montembeau and Martin Plout. Gonna lift out that time through Montembeau. Still running in the 6th place spot. Martin Plout up to the outside wall. Just keeps it out of it that time by. And Vincent will look to try to follow Plout around. But Montembeau will likely try to cut off the run, I'd imagine.
Gibson's got his way back past Montembeau. Montembeau worked so hard to get that spot in the most recent run. Zach Henson's having a great day for himself at the moment as well.
Well, he's trying for it, isn't he?
I mean, Henson's up 23 spots, and he's not falling back. That is credit that should be deserved to that man at the moment. Struggled in qualifying. I don't think he actually set a real good lap time. We haven't necessarily seen him stick around in the top 5 for long periods of time this season. He's doing a great job of doing that right now against very stiff opposition. So this is probably his drive of the season to this point.
Oh, for sure.
How he plays the back half of this race, though, will challenge whether or not he stays here.
Well, so far, the Harris Tools number 58 car continue to have a good run here, up 23 spots thus far, as he seeks to try to chase down one of the main title rivals, Minazzi Major, who himself trying to close down spots behind, and a big block to the inside for Philip Scott as he shuts off the rubber Melba, trying to head him off the pass. Whoa, now chops the nose of Vincent, and that sends him deep into 2.
I think that was Phil Scott trying to open the door for Malello, because he knows Malello's on 20-lap fresher tires. So Phil Scott definitely wants to go for him. Vincent is being aggressive at the moment. I don't know that that's necessarily smart. The car that Vincent just tried to dive and block off are both on fresher tires, and that's just not smart heads-up racing. Guys are on fresher tires, you don't want to just hand them the position, but you also don't want to make it difficult, because then you get into a corner a little bit, too early on the brakes, because that's your age of the tires. They've got no room to play with. You're going to get bumped, you're going to get turned. So think a little bit. When we talk about racecraft, this is what we mean about racecraft. Play to the position that you're in, and the cars that you're racing around, and the strategies that they are on. If they are not on your strategy, you don't want to fight them.
Well, Scott continuing to fight this one out. Justin Mello tucks back in line, shuts down the run from Kyle Holden behind. And that's going to put this group once again single file. Mello now being washed all the way to the outside wall and into the outside wall, courtesy of Philip Scott, with Martin Plout still heading the way up the field as well. Boy, this is a fight that they're having here right around the edge of the top 10, but so far it's been pretty respectful among the group.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult though, because Plute wants to hang on to it, and now it's Malello versus Kyle Holden, who are the guys that are on that pit at lap 89 strategy. So they're on the freshest tires, and Holden wants to get to the inside. He's going to go 3 wide down through the dog leg. Again, this is Holden wants to make advantage, and he's just by being in the right place and showing the nose at the right angles.
Oh,
he's
there
got
we
that
go.
advantage of Malello. There we go. Yeah.
Loose. Oh, no! He had it saved, and then Stan Hausman finished the job. Hausman careened into the pit attenuator with the barrels. Oh, I thought for a moment he was going to gather up. He had that recovered, too. He was actually going to walk away from that unscathed, and I don't think Plute had anywhere to go.
If you got a set, you're going to burn him here. For me, we are... We are 37 to go.
And there's the hit. That's a big one, too. And then Hausman spins down and just barely clipped the pit barrels.
39.
You saw him, he recognized where he was going to. He actually throttled up to try and miss the barrels. And instead, that only exacerbated it, because when he went into the barrels, that shot the back end of the car around, and he went hard into the opposite side wall as well.
It was going to be hard contacts. He had not much of a choice like that. Him not throttling up is certain day done. Him throttling up is, you know, slightly less chance of day done. But it was two bad decisions he had to make a choice between. So.
And we'll get the look at that with that speed after the pit stops here. But right now, Cosmonai and Oshu going out to the point. No surprises there. 4 tires on for pretty much everybody in the field. Only driver really that's gonna break for the status quo, Caleb Bass, taking fuel only. Here's the look at speed.
Yeah, there goes the Plute car. Around comes the rear end and just in the wrong time. Wrong spot, wrong time. So that is a big shot. Side impact, side impact. Yeah, he's going to have an extended stay on pit lane here.
Well, coming up on Green Flag TV over the next little while, it's going to be on Saturday. The FTR Events Trophy.ai Endurance Series takes for a 4-hour race out of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, followed by the SRA Gen 4 Series, the Super Speedway Blitz at Daytona on Saturday night. Blaze Battles ARCA Series action is out at the Auto Club Speedway alongside the High Tide Race League Premier Series for Race 2, and the season finale of the Old Mess Royal Gold Series presented by Sim Racing Hub. Mars is out at the Charlotte Roval, and then PSR is back for more alongside the Beer League on Wednesday night as well. As we are set to go back to Green Flag Racing here, this time by
reset. Malello will lead the field back to green flags. There's a couple cars up the point here who stayed out. And we got ourselves Malello, Austin, Gracias, William, Cotillo. So your top 5 have stayed out. Ionoshu on the outside of row 3 is your first driver on fresh tires.
To the green flag, Justin Melillo launches. And here comes the storm as they fire down to turn number 1. That's not going to work in Ionoshu. Into the outside wall. It's big damage for Ionoshu. Hinson's collected as well. Garrett Austin's back into the outside wall. No caution flag yet. We stay green for the time being. Now around goes Kyle Holden. Matt Monteville's around as well. The yellow flag's out into Garrett Austin. Hard into the inside wall as well.
They just kept tripping over each other.
That's Phoenix for you.
Standing room only. And it just kept happening. They were 4 wide into an incident.
Looked like Holden lost by himself, and Montevo again just finished the job. That's a big hit into the inside wall, and then along comes Garrett Austin, and he's going to pick up a black flag as he lost at the front straightaway and just body slams the inside fence.
There's more in that. There's more in that from Garrett Austin.
You reckon?
There was. I don't necessarily feel like he's lost that one on his own. I think the only reason that car is unsettled to the left is because of contact.
Take a look at the whole thing from the air. Watch the 24, the DuPont machine up on the outside. Right there, Cotilla chops the nose, and he gets put in the outside wall with Zach Hinson. There, Garrett Austin gets put in by Cotilla again the first time. They're coming off of the corner. Kyle Holden loses it. Montevo finishes the job. And you're correct, Terrell Wheeler ran into the back of him because Garrett Austin jammed the brakes.
I don't think Austin jammed the brakes. I actually think he'd lifted off. I don't think he jammed the brakes. But he could see the cars directly ahead of him. Watch it from Terrell Wheeler's perspective, I think, the onboard from Wheeler. Because Austin's annoyed, and I think he's got a right to be annoyed here. So there's the first bit of contact, but then Wheeler hits it. I think Wheeler was blindsided. Yeah, I don't think Wheeler could see those incidents unfolding. And by the time he reacted to them, it was just too late.
Likely so. Let's ride on board with Wheeler and see what he saw.
Again, have a look at the scattering and the number of cars you have to try and track and remember where they are when they disappear. There's Jason Shu who appears to the inside. So Austin's got his issue up high. There's Caleb Bass that we've driven past to the outside. Austin turns down. Yeah, you can't see anything. Look at that. He gets one shot, and by that stage, Austin's... You know what? Austin did hit the brakes.
Yeah, well, and hindsight's 20/20, right? Because, I mean, we can look and say, well, he absolutely could have seen, because you saw the two cars momentarily shoot off to the very left, but that's because we know where the incident's going to be. He's not looking there when he's in real time. He's looking straight ahead.
We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. It's the same thing as I need to see, I really, really want to see, one of the movies I want to see in the near future is the Miracle on the Hudson. It's the same concept, really. You know, are you factoring for human error? And what we're watching on a replay, we already know what's happened. We already know what needs to happen. And we're judging and making that assessment. You got to remember, you got to allow time for the human brain to react and respond. And yeah, I just don't see that there's a reasonable enough time frame in there for Terrell Wheeler to read what he saw.
Green flag out once again. This time with with 41 laps to go.
Oh boy.
And this might get ugly here as we're looking for 3 wide once again into turn 1. Martin Flood all the way down onto the apron, trying to gather himself up. And now 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Gibson's caught in the middle.
People giving each other a heap of room, though, is the biggest benefit. Oh, Gibson gets a door again. Yeah.
Oh, you say that! Oh. And hard into the outside wall for Holden. Gibson gets taken with, and that is 100% on the 88.
Yeah. And he would have got a call that he was too wide and that he was cleared to the 3. And that is technically correct, but also not correct when you rejoin up like that.
I don't know if he was even 2. I think he may have been 3 wide when that happened. There's the initial hit there.
So he's getting a 3 wide call here when he cuts to the dogleg. He would have gotten a clear to 2 wide. And as he comes back up, there's the additional car there. And admittedly, Gibson is low. This is Phoenix. That incident is classical open dogleg Phoenix. You see that all the time in official racing. And the reason for it is you have crisscrossing trajectories, basically, at that point in time. Now, Gibson is low. Watch how low he is on the track here. Because he's trying to read and give himself room to the outside, and Holden isn't aware of that, and there's no way Kyle Holden can be aware of that. So whilst it looks excessive, and that there is definitely, I'm still going to blame the 88 and lay blame on his, there is a lot more factors. That looks, the first time you look at that, you go, it's definitely on the 88. The second time you look at it, you go, it's still on the 88, but gee, there's actually a lot more that went into it. That's Phoenix. That is racing at Phoenix.
That's why I'm not a fan of that open dog. I know some people like it. I personally don't. it invites incidents like this, and we've seen it in the real world how many times, right? I mean, I prefer racing when the dogleg is closed. It's more orderly, or at the very least, if you're gonna have the open dogleg, start-finish line should be on the other end of the racetrack.
I don't disagree. I mean, Phoenix doesn't translate well to the sim. Is my issue, and the reason I follow through with that is that this is where real-world spotters really excel.
Yes.
It's these multi-groove sort of situations whereby there is a lot that the driver needs to be passed that he cannot see.
I can guarantee you, if real-world spotters were given as little information as what iRacing spotters give you in those situations, it would be the exact same scenes in the real world that we're seeing here.
Yeah.
I personally have no idea why the open dogleg was ever allowed in the first place. Do you have any idea why? Because I don't.
It matches it. It's fun. It's unique. It is a unique, short-ish track. It's unique. The racing is interesting. I like it because it's something fresh. This is a lot of the conversation that happened 10 years ago with the cookie cutter tracks. Every racetrack was too similar. This is entirely the reason that Atlanta is a super speedway. Oh, it's a cookie cutter track. It was a cookie cutter track, and the track needed to be resurfaced. Well, they went, well, if we're going to resurface the track, let's rebuild the whole thing whilst we're doing it. I disagree with what they've done with it and the decisions they've made, but hey. Again, it's a unique racetrack, and Phoenix is just another one of those.
Green flag back in the air. Under 30 laps to go. Once again, we fire through the dogleg back out onto the racetrack. Everyone still fanned out as they come around through turn numbers 1 and 2. And now to the back straight away. Kylesman, I know, she just barely squeaks through into second. And now one car stands to be he in the race lead. And it's Mello on 14-lap older tires.
He's got to hold him off. He's got some decisions to make about how he's going to fight this one. Fresh air is huge at Phoenix. And have a look at how Amberg closes in on Ionoshu as well. Crushes out!
And a big hit in turn 2 from Matt Montembeau. Caleb Bass fires in at high speeds and absolutely door checks him. And once again, the yellow flag comes out. Take a look, and I kind of saw the start of this one. I think it was Justin Mello that ended up getting him here. Sorry, it was Terrell Wheeler and Matt Montembeau. They came together, kind of saw the development of the tail end, and Montembeau went down onto the apron. No grip down there. Back end comes around, slides back up the racetrack. Just clears Vincent. Shu gets into it, and he punches him into the path of Caleb Bass.
If I'm in Montembeau's shoes, I can see why Terrell Wheeler's made the block that he has, and I am disappointed all the same. Because to me, I think there was overlap there, and Wheeler needed to respect it a little bit more because he's leaning on him. He just turns down.
And there's hit 1 and 2. Gosh, that's a big, right into the driver's side door. I'm sure Bass had nowhere to go as well. It looked like he would have been on the brakes.
His day's done. It's a car that's done. Steven Gibson's done for the day as well. They're starting to drop like flies.
Just like Martinsville, right? You can get a long green flag run, but you're going to get one of those late race cautions, and all hell's going to break loose. Happens in the real world, happens on iRacing, especially in these ever-intensifying championship scenarios that continue to be a thorn in drivers like Cosmo Ionoshu Benazzi Major's side. Shockingly, the gap between the two in the top two still unchanged from the last time we checked in on it.
Both of them having good days thus far, although the 24 machine is definitely not clean anymore. He's still making the most that he can out of that car. Again, Major's just making sure he checks those boxes. Malello needs a great restart here again. He just wants short, sharp runs to the end of this race. If he can keep getting short, sharp runs, he'll be in a great spot.
So, Justin Mello leading the pack. He'll cruise into turn numbers 3 and 4. Tell you what, that FTF machine keeps getting these lucky yellows. He could get a walk-off win here if this keeps going his way.
Just in short fire-offs. He's looking for 1 to 2 laps maximum. And eat a bunch of them through a caution. 1 to 2 laps, eat a caution.
Green flag back in the air. He might get him here because, oh boy, the Nazi Major nearly getting turned before they even got to the dog leg that time. And once again, we funnel down.
Hinson's still having that great race after the pit stops and the cycling through. It's not as brilliant as it was before, but he's deep inside that top 10 at least. Giving himself an opportunity.
Ethan Amberg up front, trying to get around Justin Mello for the lead of the race as we once again fire through the dogleg double file, and Mello chops the nose of Ethan Amberg coming down to the turn number 1. Amber is going to be getting desperate now.
He cut him a break there. He absolutely cut him a break there, Nolan. He didn't have to do that. But the tempers will get shorter from here.
Seeking for the race lead. He's got Cosmin Inoshu right behind him. Inoshu still not out of the woods. This championship fight guaranteed to go down to the season finale in 1 week's time at Homestead Miami Speedway. There's the look to the inside. Ethan Amberg diving down to the bottom, and he's going to steal the spot away from Mello.
That's all Mello really had. You know, like I said, needed that 3 laps. He needed 2-lap run caution, 2-lap run caution. This one goes a little bit longer than that, and he hasn't got the goods to hang on to it. But for Amberg, you got that fresh air now, so you got to back him up. I think you got to start saving those tires. Use the dirty air to cook the guys that are behind you, because Inoshu's not got the pass done yet.
And right behind Inoshu is Benazzi Major, who is currently in a fight with Philip Scott for 4th. But Josiah Vincent down on the inside line. Major going to track clear. He's up into the 4th place spot. Philip Scott sliding up the racetrack just that little bit. Oh, and a bit of a twitch for a moment there for the 99.
Again, it's not easy. Everyone's trying to look after themselves and no one else at this point in time. But this is also now transgressed into a little bit of a longer run. So there's contact now, there's a caution. That makes me just go, do I want some fresh tires? It'll depend on what I've got underneath me.
I think for Mello, you do.
Gotta do some work. Yeah, well, that's if he's got a set. If he's got no sets left, then he doesn't have a choice. At the same time, he's still sitting 3rd, you know? Major gets cleared for 4th. Now he'll start to build that run as well. But, you know, just, again, keep thinking about what you're trying to do, where you're placing the car. Oh, contact in the background. Gracias, I think it was Zach Hinson, got into each other.
Well, for the time being, they're able to keep it out of the walls, so they will remain nose to tail down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Ron Norman with a front row seat to a good chunk of the battles as he fights out Jason Gracias directly on his outside. He's got eyes on that Scott and Major battle just up the road as well.
Just watching a couple of cars get that outside wall again as they're struggling for right fronts off of 2. Zach Hinson got it. There's a couple of cars in behind him that got it as well. Majors. This is just the to and then throwing, isn't it? You're trying to look for that clear air, and this has all been set up because Major went for a pass on Malello, and it didn't happen. He cost himself momentum. That opened the door to Phil Scott.
Major continuing to hold to the inside. Still up top is Josiah Vincent. Minazzi Major with a bit of a check and goes down low. Now the number 4 of Vincent finally clears from the outside of Major into 5th and immediately goes on offense against Justin Mello, who's continuing to lose pace on the inside.
Yeah, well, you need to overlap. If you can get alongside Malello, you're probably going to complete that pass at this point in time. So you just got to find a way to get alongside of him. And the problem was for Minazzi Major, anytime he tried to get alongside Malello, he just covered that lane. And that's the reason he's lost spots. So a little bit unlucky, a little bit, for me, probably a lack of aggression from Minazzi Major. If he was a little bit more aggressive, he probably could have got that done, hung onto his spot, being in contention for a podium.
30.
Look at Amberg, though. Amberg's just gone.
Ethan Amberg cleared by about a second from the very head of the field. He's got Cosmo Inosha chasing him down by about a second behind. And then, of course, the ever-fiercening fights back here as Martin Blue catches the outside wall. 30 cars, Scott, started this race. Only 18 are still left on the racetrack. That might be only 17 now as Martin Blue swings the back end down. Ronnie Norman got into the back of it. What a save from the 81 there in turn number 1.
Great save. Great save. Great job.
Oh, my goodness. That is a wild, wild moment from Martin Plout. Take a ride on board and see what he did. As this was earlier, my apologies. And that's now too late. We'll get it eventually, I promise. Here we go. This is the lap prior. This will be it.
So just look how high wide he is. Checked up on the wall. A little bit of mistake there. Trying to turn down, looked innocent on board. There was just a touch of overlap on that left rear corner.
Kind of like reflexing, right? I mean, that wheel went pretty much full lock to the other side for a split second. And that 9 times out of 10 sends you into the outside wall. And all of this takes us to within 10 laps to go as the fighting continues with no end in sight.
And that playoff picture becomes ever bigger as well. How about Ethan Amberg as well? Another driver. Reasonable season from Amberg, but the playoffs, he's just switched it on.
Yeah, Ethan Amberg has had a pretty good day so far, hasn't he? I mean, this is one of the drivers that is in the multi-time winners bracket, running his 49th start, looking to take his 4th win in Speed Cup Series competition. In fact, coming off of the win, remember, just last week in Martinsville. Back-to-back, I mean, what a run.
Don't say that. Don't say that. It's not done yet at Phoenix. I'd stay out now.
Oh, for sure.
We get a caution now. It's a green white checker. I'd stay out, keep the track position. You're never getting it back.
4 laps to go. Zach Hinson right behind. Oh, sends it a little bit deep with the Matco Harris Tools number 58 car. And almost took out championship contender Minazzi Major. Behind them, Zach Williams, Ronnie Norman, Martin Plout, all in a fight with Justin Mello for 9th.
Melrose managed. That's a reasonable finish for him on old tires. Not a great finish. He rolled the dice. He knew what he was doing, and he also knew the set of. You know, it doesn't take much extra in the set of circumstances, and this works out positively for him. Still a top 10 finish. Still reasonable points. Still keeps him clean. And one of the biggest things is it was the lowest risk approach in terms of racing. Think about Cosmo Inosha. His day could have been done with the contact earlier on. That was high risk what they did, but it was also the right strategy in terms of pace. It still came with risks. Managed it okay. Think he was capable of winning the race today. Not going to work out for him. I'll tell you what, Nolan, you can talk about it now, because white flag's about to fly.
White flag this time by, and Ethan Amber cruising down into turn number 1. Cosman Inoshu up top. And, well, Ethan Amberg will look to hold on. He takes win number 4 of his Speed Cup Series career, back-to-back for him, while everyone else fires across the start-finish line on what's going to end up being a clean finish after a slugfest in the back half.
What a race, though. I so hope that Ethan Amberg heads down to victory lane as well. It's always good to get shots down there.
Oh, for sure.
Back to back. Think about how confident he's going to be heading next week into Homestead.
Oh, very understandably confident. So Ethan Amber going to look set to burn it down here on the front straightaway. A stellar afternoon for him, and win number 4 of his career. It's going to be a big day, and back-to-back to boot from Martinsville.
Get that man into victory lane. And go celebrate in style. Get some fancy photos. Back-to-back winnings heading into a championship race. What a time to turn it on, you know? And critically survive short track races to get there. And that says a lot about race smarts, car smarts, a little bit of luck for sure. But just positioning smarts and how to race guys through a thick field. That was not an easy field to race your way through tonight.
And it looks like he is going to try to locate victory lane. That is just going to complete a Polish victory lap here. And you know what? We're going to let him have his fun on that Polish victory lap. I think he's having some fun with it. I don't say I blame him in the slightest. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon, because, man, this win going to be a big one, and this could shake up the championship standings quite a bit here as well. As Amber comes home number 1, Inoshu in 2nd, Scott 3rd, Minox Major in 4th. The gap between them should still be under 10 points entering the finale Miami 1 week from today. Josiah Vincent in 5th, Gracias in 6th, Hinson, Mello, Norman, and Williams round out the top 10 out of only 18 that made it to the checkered flag.
Outside the 10, we're going to get back to 11th place, Martin and Plu. Jeremiah and Vincent had pace at times, but not a trouble 3 run to 12. Nate Coutilla, Terrell Wheeler, Stan Hausman, Mark McFadden. The drivers home on the lead lap. Stacey Hunter had a rough night at the office and a ton of contact for the 71 machine. 1 lap down. Corey Hutchison, 3 laps down. Jason Stewart, 13. Matt Montembeau finishes up 25, down to 20.
And other cars that finished this one in the garage: Caleb Bass, Stephen Gibson, Kyle Holden, Garrett Austin, Tim Branton, Scott Leonard, Ryan Newman, Colton Easter, Nicholas Coate, and Joey Barrett closes out the field 108 laps down. Quite a fight that we had there in the dying stages of this one. Let's take a rundown of the drivers that bring it home, numbers 1, 2, and 3 here at the end of the night. And we'll look to kick things off first and foremost with the man of the hour that comes home, number 1. It's Ethan Amberg, who takes a walk-off win going back-to-back here in Avondale, Arizona. And we'll get a chance to talk to him now.
He got it, Nolan. He's in victory lane.
So Ethan Amberg coming home to victory lane here this afternoon as, well, Ethan, a wild afternoon for you here this afternoon, and you're able to hold on after finally getting around Justin Mello late in the game with a slew of cautions and take a walk-off win for back-to-back. How does it feel?
Feels really good. That's probably the most hard-fought one I think I've had in this league since coming into it, and all the battles tonight were really fun and clean up front. Justin, Cosman, Philip, Munatzi especially raced really hard there. Those couple restarts to try to get track position before the end, and it was a really good time. I appreciate the hard, clean racing from those guys. The Highline Motorsports, Ghost Sim Racing, Highline Diecast Collectibles. forward was real quick, and that's probably the best I've ever felt at Phoenix. This is usually an okay track for me, but didn't expect that.
Overall, kind of talk us through how this race went for you. There was a lot of cautions at the start. Got some good green flag running in, and then unfortunately, not so much deeper in the field, as obviously we got that big slew right at the end. So yet another long one here today, just like Martinsville was last week. Have you managed to keep the focus up these last two races?
I think the racing helps me keep focus for sure. When you're racing that hard and the strategies are that close and you're that tight with the guys that you're on a similar strategy with throughout a run, it keeps your focus going and it really keeps your mind in it. I've got a bunch of water next to me and I'm feeling pretty hungry after that one. That was a long one.
Next week is Miami. It's the final race of the season. What's going to be in store for you here when we go out to the Sunshine State one more time?
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Homestead's always a good race, regardless who's in it, who's racing up front. It's always great racing, multi-groove track. We'll be starting from the back with 2 in a row. This seems to be the way that my Speed Cup Series career goes: win 2 in a row and then go winless for 8 months. So let's see if we can change that.
Wish you the best of luck. We go racing once again next week. Congratulations on taking home number 1, and we'll see you next week one more time.
Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Ethan Amber comes on number 1 this afternoon. Cosmo Ionosha, in the meantime, he is going to be having his championship run go to the season finale for the season championship. But for the Twisted Beer standings, he is the overall 2025 champion across both seasons. And Scott, you're standing by with that champion now.
Cosmo, we're just talking yet again. It's been another quality season for you. First half of the season was just about smooth, consistent results all the way back in 2025. Second half, you've just sort of been on a tear. And tonight we can confirm that you've taken out the Twisted Beer 2025 overall title. So that just speaks to the quality of driving from the year. When you sum up the year at large, what sort of stands out to you?
Stands out that I started putting a bit more effort into the second season, as I think it shows. And I gotta thank my friends for helping me out and giving me some advice on that. Yeah, I don't like practicing, but I did a few laps here before the chase started and today as well, just to get more comfortable with the car because they always change. And I'm really happy to have won the overall season. It's been a tough fight. I believe Ethan was in second place, or I think he's the one that I was fighting, and he told me before either last week or before the race that, oh yeah, good overall championship. I'm like, not yet, but I guess now it is official. And thanks to everybody who put that up. And yeah, it was...
So the total you needed coming into tonight was 10 points from tonight's race to lock it down. So that's why we can say it's confirmed and official here tonight. As we head into the Homestead race next week, the big thing I think for me is you come in, again, if you haven't won races, you've been on the podium. And that's sort of been the big thing. A couple scary moments there, though, tonight. But Homestead's a little bit wider of a racetrack. It's a little bit easier to manage that and get the car pointed through the lanes and read the situation. I think Phoenix is one of those ones you just got to walk away from. To go Martinsville, Phoenix back-to-back is probably the toughest run through any section of the season all year.
I think I could have managed Martinsville a little bit better. I don't know. There were some things that I definitely could have done different, especially when I got put in the back. But would you believe that I was turning right down the straightaway for that entire last run? My toe was bent. It was broken, man. The car, in my opinion, was destroyed, and I'm glad I didn't get a meatball. Thank you, iRacing, for RNGing me correctly this time.
Wait, I think a big one is not only have you survived tonight, but with a bent race car, you've managed to stick that thing on P2. Who would you like to give a thank you and shout out for getting this number 24 Tiltify car into second place tonight?
Justin, for working with me throughout the whole race. We kind of strategized again, trying to figure out which lane to pick to give, to help each other out. I was hoping that he would win the race. That would mean that he would still have a championship hope next week. Everybody who puts this up, you guys, Stan, Ethan, Twisted Steel, and everybody who put up the championship, and you guys for broadcasting, and everybody who's on my car, Tiltify, Nate, and everybody. Yeah, it's just I'm having pretty much fun this year running.
Mate, congratulations on the results thus far, and let's see if you can do it again next week. We're off to Homestead, Miami. Thank you very much for your time, Cosman.
Thank you. Hopefully we talk again next week.
Finally, tonight's third place driver had a great run through the field. At time led laps. It's the driver, the number 99, Philip Scott, alongside of Nolan.
Phil, you come home number 3 this afternoon, and boy, what an afternoon it was for the ObstacleFactor.com machine. Back to front well, to the back and to the front again. That car was everywhere, and hey, you walk out of here with a podium. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of revenge. I'm still so heartbroken over pretty much having the championship in my grasp last week at Martinsville. I was on way fresher tires than Jeremiah, and the car then the next gen did a next gen yaw moment where I just when I was trying to do a fake out and just put me right into the fence. So yeah, I was really disappointed. Wasn't feeling that motivated today, but I knew just to all I can do is just keep driving, and then I'm not totally out of it. So yeah, it was fun. I cooked my right front up really bad because I was battling hard with the 17 for the lead early, while everybody else was just kind of chilling because I wanted that clean air, and then I didn't pit when others did because I wanted the clean air, but then eventually just got too bad, and my right front was at like 16%. I think if we went green the whole way, it would have been at least a 2-stopper because I don't think those tires, even if you took them easy, would last a whole 70 laps.
Well, you come home third place here this afternoon after a rough outing in Virginia, and of course you mentioned the championship may very well have slipped out of your grasp here in season number 5, but season 6, I mean, 2026 is going to be rolling around faster than anything any of us can think about right now. Do you plan on coming back to fight for a championship once more?
Oh yeah, I started kind of like 4 races into last season, and it's been a blast every week. This season I've been even closer. Cosman, he deserves it anyway, even if I didn't wreck out of Martinsville. Like, Cosman's been the fastest guy, so as long as he can, I'm sure it's pretty much his in the bag as long as he can keep the fenders on it. But I'm just going to try to hold on to, I think, third or so. Major's probably going to be hard to gain like 10-ish points on. But yeah, I'm excited for next season. It's a really fun group. And especially near the front, we have some intense battles like you saw today. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again in 1 week's time. One more time here this season. Congratulations on taking home number 3 today, and we'll see you for the final race in Miami.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Philip Scott comes on number 3 this afternoon, and Scott, that's going to do it for us then here this afternoon. Overall, a stellar way to close out the penultimate race this season with a nice, clean finish after a bit of a slugfest right in the middle there. Going into the final race of the season, the points gap up on your screen, it is about a 7-point deficit between Cosmo and Inosha and Minotzi Major entering the final race in Miami, and realistically, it's between them for the championship.
Yeah, that it is, and don't forget, this points results are not final. There is still a little bit more to be added into this one. It's not quite. It should be a 7-point margin for the championship victory, but from there on out, it's just about a little bit different. So keep your eyes on that one. But you're right. I think realistically of the playoffs, the class of the field have been those 2 drivers, and you know, like they said, Malala would have loved to have tried to win one here tonight. Not his opportunity. I think everyone's going to be out there next week just racing for glory, and you know, it's going to be a head-to-head fight between those 2, but at the same time they're going to be racing for race win glory anyway. I don't think they'll treat it any different.
Well, all of this with still more to come on Green Flag TV in the next few days. Coming on up, it's going to be a big day for Saturday as the FTR Events Stroba.ai Endurance Series returns in Montreal. That'll be on Saturday afternoon with the SRA Super Speedway Blitz kicking off at Daytona. Triple headers out at Auto Club with the Blaze Metals ARCA Series, High Tide Racing League, and Ole Miss Road Gold Series, all out to the West Coast in Fontana, California. The Mid-Atlantic Racing Series kicks off their next bout of action the Charlotte Motor Speedway with their Roval layout. And then, of course, Premier Sim Racing Outlet Motorsports Truck Series is going to be at Michigan alongside the Beer League for round number 4. All this and more on Green Flag TV. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Oliver Bamble alongside Scott Rank. Thank you all so much for joining us. One race to go. We'll see who walks away with the Season 5 championship in Miami.